Over on the Telegraph, heads should roll over the electric car fiasco. Policymakers have wasted billions chasing a net zero pipe dream. Is it time they were held accountable? Alright, let's get into this. Profits at the German auto giant Mercedes plunged on Friday as sales of its slick new range of electric vehicles went into freefall. Porsche abandons its sales targets for battery-powered cars amid waning demand from customers. Ford is losing nearly $50,000, which is £39,000, on every EV it sells, whilst Tesla's profits dropped 45%. Meanwhile, battery manufacturers such as German's Varta are getting wiped out. Over the last few days, it's become clear that the EV industry is on the brink of collapse. Oh, it's not the EV industry that's going to collapse. Hundreds of billions of euros, dollars and pounds have been pumped into the industry by political leaders and subsidy junkies that surround them. And it is surely time they were held to account for the vast quantities of taxpayer cash that has been wasted. Okay, few things to say then. No mention here, of course, of extremely high interest rates, which has a direct effect on purchasing decisions. Also, the cost of living crisis, which is squeezing the purse strings for consumers. These things matter. In the last few days alone, there's been a steady stream of bad news from auto manufacturers. Mercedes, the company founded by Gottlieb Daimler that pioneered petrol-driven cars, is struggling to replicate that success in the battery version. Who knew electric cars would be more difficult to make than, internal combustion engines, an entire different technology? More on that in a minute. Group net profits were down 21% on Friday, mostly on falling sales of its new range of EVs. Earlier in the week, its great rival Porsche watered down plans for its electric models. Across the Atlantic, Ford reported that profits were down 35% in the latest quarter amidst losses in its EV unit, and Tesla slashed prices and offered generous financing deals to try and revive flagging demand. Yeah, that's flagging demand, of course, for the world's best-selling car, the Tesla Model Y. And then we are treated to this chart of Tesla's global sales showing only Q1 sales. For context, here's Clean Technica's chart of Tesla's vehicle sales over each quarter up to 2023. You may notice a slight trend, and if you look carefully, it's massively up, with a few downtrends in the first quarter of each year. This is a common occurrence across the industry, as vehicle sales are usually at their slowest over this time. It's even worse for component manufacturers. Shares in Germany's Varta are down 70% over the last month, amid reports that the company may have to be rescued from bankruptcy after making heavy losses on batteries for hybrid sports cars. Let's not even get into that one. This week, the Belgium chemicals group Umicore announced a €1.6 billion hit as manufacturers warned of waning EV demand, and it postponed plans for a battery recycling plant. The list goes on and on. In reality, the EV balance sheet looks to be awash with red ink. It is not hard to work out why. Costs are too high, as companies such as Ford have discovered, with electric cars much more expensive to produce than their traditional petrol rivals, and with shortages of critical materials pushing prices higher all the time. There is too much capacity in the industry, with companies over-investing in too many factories and distribution centres. Demand for the end product has started to crumble, with consumers increasingly nervous about what may become obsolete technology. Now, I'm yet to meet an electric car driver that considers their electric car to be obsolete technology. Everybody hates electric vehicles until they drive one. It's been shown now that the vast majority of people who step into an electric car for the first time do not want to go back to an internal combustion engine, no matter how many times you hear those words being told to you. Insurance and maintenance costs are proving far higher than expected for many, once the vehicles are actually on the road. This is absolute BS, okay? Insurance for all vehicles has gone up. You may have noticed. Speak to any EV owner or internal combustion engine owner. Insurance has just got higher for everybody. I recently did a video on car insurance. I'd highly recommend watching it because basically hardly anyone's watched it, but it's full of great information about how to get cheaper in car insurance. I'll link it at the end of this video. And as for maintenance, that's utter BS, okay? Electric cars are far cheaper to maintain because there's hardly anything in them to maintain. There's no engine, there's no clutch, there's no gears, there's flipping nothing in it to maintain. It is obviously cheaper to maintain an electric vehicle. This 5-year-old Tesla, for example, has had zero maintenance. The only thing I've done to this car in 5 years is put some washer fluid inside and a set of tyres. And all that was before the Chinese entered the market with a new range of slick, cheap vehicles. The word bloodbath is used too often in business journalism, but right now it may be the only one appropriate to describe the state of the Western EV industry. Surely it's time that political heads started to roll for the catastrophe that is now unfolding. Policymakers, under pressure from industrial and climate change lobby groups, picked this winner and spent eye-watering amounts of taxpayer money on it. In 2019, France's President Macron grandly announced a Franco-German plan to dominate battery production, with €700 million invested by France and another €1 billion in Germany. The EU proudly boasts that €80 billion has been invested in the EV value chain as part of its Green New Deal, but when the books are finally opened, it's unlikely they will be good. The situation is even worse in the US. The Biden administration recently awarded nearly $2 billion in grants to help restart or expand EV manufacturing and assembly sites across 8 states, which feels like throwing good money after bad. It has offered tens of billions in subsidies, or more than $7,000 per vehicle sold, and even more in building the infrastructure, including one $7.5 billion scheme to install chargers that ended up with only 7 actually built, which works out at more than $1 billion each for what is basically just a plug. Now, there's more to this story that I'm going to go into now, but that just shows the utter incompetency of the government, does it not? Tesla doesn't have that problem, does it, with it installing chargers? Even in this country, where our political class were largely too incompetent to back any projects, money was poured into the ill-fated British Volt project, and it remains to be seen how much is finally given to India's Tata for its new EV battery factory in Somerset. I strongly disagree with this. We need batteries, okay? Batteries are the future. For energy storage, for electric vehicles, we should be investing heavily into mining and refining in this country and battery facilities like these ones. It's an absolute shame that they are in trouble. Economists have long warned that net zero provides a golden opportunity for waste and rent seeking, but some elites choose not to listen. We should start holding them accountable. Lobbyists argued for the subsidies, civil servants supported them, and finance ministers enthusiastically virtue signalled with other people's money. But too much investment creates overcapacity. Markets are better at deciding which technologies work than politicians, and if there is a genuine demand for a product, then no one has to receive a grant to manufacture it, since the potential profits to be made will be incentive enough. That I totally agree with. At this point in time, EVs probably shouldn't be subsidised, okay? This is a fault of the car industry that are not producing compelling, affordable EVs for the masses. Tesla is doing just fine. The only profitable EV car company in the world, I believe. The carnage in the EV industry is only just getting started and has already cost billions. I think replacing the word EV with internal combustion engine is more fitting there. There is such an obvious, catastrophic, slow-motion car crash waiting to happen, and it's not in the EV industry. It's traditional car companies that have not evolved at the frantic manner necessary, because of course they never could. They are too set in their ways, the opposite of nimble, whatever that is, stiff, lumbering companies, I suppose, that have never had what it takes to all of a sudden become battery management experts, software experts, vertically integrated manufacturing machines. Because if you are a car company that cannot match Tesla and the handful of other electric car companies that are doing what's necessary to survive the transition from internal combustion engines to EVs, you will rightly become obsolete, as has been the way for any outdated technologies of the past. Tesla have proved that electric cars are the future. They will continue driving down manufacturing costs, battery costs, the purchase price of future Teslas to such a level that you would literally need to be insane to buy an inferior, more expensive, costly to run internal combustion engine car. This is nothing to do with net zero, whatever your feelings on that might be. It's simple economics. Cheaper, better technology that improves people's lives will win, whether they're subsidised or not. We ain't seen nothing yet, as legacy car companies not only fail to produce compelling, affordable electric cars, but also have to fool the public into thinking that 100-year-old technology of the internal combustion engine is still relevant. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, patrons. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.